The words I never expected to hear. When my daughter-in-law told me it was time for me to leave, I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice. I just smiled and kept stirring the soup on the stove. Funny thing is, I'd made that soup for them. Lentil and vegetable the way my Michael always liked it. Michael was my husband. Been gone 12 years now, but I still cook for him sometimes. Old habits, I suppose. Anyway, there I was, standing at the stove in my own kitchen, and Lisa walks in with that look she gets when she's worked up to say something she thinks is hard. She stood by the refrigerator, arms crossed, shifting from one foot to the other. Then she just came out with it. "Patricia, we need to talk about your living situation." Just like that, your living situation, like I was a renter who'd overstayed. I turned the heat down low and faced her. "My living situation." She nodded, all serious. "Mark and I have been discussing it. This house is too much for you now. The stairs, the yard work, the maintenance, it's not fair to you." I wanted to ask when she'd ever worried about what was fair to me, but I didn't. I just waited. "We think you'd be happier in one of those senior apartments," she continued. "The ones over by the medical center. They have activities, meal plans, people your own age." People my own age. I'm 73, not dead. I looked past her, through the kitchen doorway, toward the living room where my son Mark was pretending to read the newspaper. He'd sent her in to do the talking. That's how it's always been with them. She delivers the news, he hides behind it. "Did Mark ask you to tell me this?" I said quietly. She shifted again, uncomfortable. "We talked about it together. We both think it's for the best." For the best. 4 little words that somehow managed to dismiss a whole lifetime. I turned back to my soup. "I see." Lisa stood there a moment longer, waiting for me to argue, to cry, to do something dramatic. When I didn't, she got flustered. "We're not trying to be cruel, Patricia. We just think you need, well, less space, less responsibility. This house is 3 bedrooms. You rattle around in it." Rattle around. That's what she thought I did. Just rattling around, taking up space, making noise with my presence. "Mark's mother," she said, softening her voice like she was trying to be kind. "We love having you here. You know that. But we have to think about the future. The kids are getting older. They need their own space. And we've been talking about remodeling, maybe putting an office in the back room, making the basement into a rental unit for extra income." Extra income. There it was, the real reason. "And I'm in the way," I finished for her. She didn't deny it, just gave me that tight smile she'd perfected over 15 years of marriage to my son. "We just want what's best for everyone." Everyone except me. I nodded slowly, like I was considering it. "Well, thank you for telling me." Lisa blinked, surprised. "So, you're okay with this?" I lifted the ladle and tasted the soup. Needed more salt. "I'm thinking about it." She didn't know what to do with that. She'd come in prepared for a fight, and I hadn't given her one. After a moment, she mumbled something about picking up the kids from school and disappeared out the back door. I heard the car start, heard it pull away. Then the house went quiet. Mark never came in from the living room, never walked into the kitchen to face me himself, just sat there with his newspaper, waiting for the coast to clear. I turned off the stove, covered the soup, and walked upstairs to my room, sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the walls. Same walls I'd painted myself 23 years ago when we first moved in. Same scuff mark near the door where Michael's old recliner used to hit when he'd rocked too hard. Same window overlooking the backyard where the kids learned to ride bikes and where Mark proposed to Lisa under the oak tree, right there on one knee, and I'd watched from this very window with tears in my eyes. Now they wanted me to leave it all behind so they could build an office and a rental unit. I sat there a long time, not crying, not angry, just still, like the calm before a storm when the air goes heavy and everything holds its breath. They thought I'd go quietly. They thought I'd pack my things and move into some little apartment with bingo nights and scheduled meals and wall-to-wall carpet that smells like disinfectant. They thought I'd just fade away, make room for their plans, become a pleasant memory they could visit on holidays. They forgot who they were dealing with. They forgot I'm the woman who raised 3 children on a mail carrier's salary, while putting myself through nursing school at night. They forgot I'm the one who held this family together when Michael got sick and the medical bills piled up and everyone said we'd lose the house. They forgot I'm the one who sat by his bed for 6 weeks straight, holding his hand, telling him it was okay to let go, that I'd be fine, that I'd keep going. They forgot I don't break. I bend, but I don't break. And they forgot something else too, something important. This house, it's mine. My name alone on the deed, paid off with my sweat and my savings and my stubbornness. Michael left it to me, free and clear. No mortgage, no liens, no nothing. They'd been living here rent-free for 5 years, ever since their landlord sold the place they were renting and they couldn't find anything affordable in the neighborhood. I'd opened my doors without hesitation. Of course I did. They're my family. Mark is my son. His children are my grandchildren. This is what families do. But somewhere along the way, my generosity became their entitlement. My home became their home, and I became the one who needed to make room. Well, I stood up and walked to the closet, reached up to the top shelf where I kept the old lockbox Michael had used for important papers. Inside, everything was in order. Deed, will, insurance documents, savings account statements from an account they didn't know existed. $147,000 saved over 30 years from my nursing pension, from small inheritances, from living carefully. They thought I had nothing. They thought I was just a grandmother taking up space. They were wrong. I closed the lockbox, put it back, and sat down at my little desk by the window. Pulled out my address book, the real one, the one with pages worn soft from decades of use. Flipped through until I found the name I was looking for. Dorothy Greenwood, my oldest friend, a real estate agent for 40 years, now semi-retired but still holding a license. She'd sold houses for half the families in this town. She knew values, knew buyers, knew how to move quietly. I dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. Dorothy, it's Patricia. Patty, Lord, it's been too long. How are you, honey? I'm fine. I need to ask you something. Anything. How fast can you sell a house? There was a pause, not a shocked pause. Dorothy had been in this business too long to be shocked by anything, just a thoughtful one. Your house? Yes. Mark know about this? Not yet. Another pause, longer this time. Then softly, what's going on, Patty? I looked out the window at the oak tree, at the tire swing still hanging from the thickest branch, at the garden I'd planted with my own hands 20 years ago. They asked me to leave, I said. Lisa came in today and told me it's time to find somewhere more suitable, for everyone. Dorothy didn't gasp, didn't launch into outrage, just got quiet in that way old friends do when they're really listening. I'm sorry, she said finally. I'm not yet, but I need to move fast and I need to move quiet. No signs in the yard, no listings online, just the right buyer quietly. Can you do that? I can do that. I know a few people, older couples looking to downsize, people who appreciate a home with history. They don't need granite countertops. They need soul. That's what this house has, soul. Then let me make some calls. I'll come by tomorrow, we'll talk numbers. And Patty. Yes. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I hung up and sat there in the fading light, watching the shadows lengthen across the yard. The house creaked around me, settling into evening like it always did. I knew every sound. The way the stairs sighed on the third step. The way the bathroom door stuck in humid weather. The way the kitchen faucet dripped 3 times before sealing shut. This house was alive. It had breathed with me through joy and grief and everything in between. And now I was going to let it go. But on my terms, not theirs. You know what I remembered that night? Lying in bed with the window cracked open just enough to hear the crickets. I remembered the day we moved in. It was 1989. Michael had just gotten the promotion at the post office, the one that meant he'd be supervising instead of walking routes. More money, more stability. We'd been renting a little 2-bedroom apartment across town, saving every penny for 5 years. And finally, we had enough for a down payment. This house was a wreck when we bought it. I'm not exaggerating. The previous owners had let everything go. The porch sagged, the roof leaked, the kitchen cabinets were held together with hope and duct tape. The real estate agent kept apologizing, showing us other places, nicer places. But Michael walked through the front door, stood in the empty living room, and said, "This is it." I thought he was crazy. Then he took my hand and said, "Look past the mess, Patty. Look at the bones. This house has good bones. We can fix the rest." And he was right. The bones were solid. Oak floors underneath the stained carpet. Original trim around the windows. A fireplace that just needed cleaning, not rebuilding. A yard with space for a garden, for kids, for a dog. We bought it for $87,000. Everyone said we overpaid. Everyone said we'd never make it work. We did, though. We worked on that house every weekend for 2 years. Michael learned how to patch drywall. I learned how to lay tile. Our neighbors pitched in, and we'd repay them with potluck dinners and cold beer on the porch. Mark was 7 when we moved in. He used to help by handing me nails and getting in the way. I'd find him napping in piles of sawdust, worn out from a day of being a little boy in a big adventure. By the time he was 10, the house was beautiful. Not fancy, never fancy, but solid, warm hours. The year he turned 13, we planted the maple tree out front. It was just a sapling then, tied to a stake with twine. Now it's taller than the house, shading the whole front yard in summer, dropping leaves I rake every fall. I remember the year Michael got sick, 2010. He came home from work early, said he wasn't feeling right. 3 months later, we had a diagnosis, pancreatic cancer, the kind nobody survives. He lasted 18 months, held on longer than the doctors expected. I think he was trying to finish the house. He'd gotten it into his head that he wanted to redo the back deck before he went. I'd find him out there in his robe, measuring, sketching, too weak to lift a hammer but determined to leave a plan. I did it for him after he was gone. Built that deck myself with help from a neighbor who knew what he was doing. Every time I step onto it, I feel Michael there, not in a spooky way. Just in the way that love leaves marks on places. After he passed, I thought about selling. The house felt too big, too quiet, too full of absence, but the kids talked me out of it. Mark was already married to Lisa by then, living in that rental across town. Our daughter Jennifer had moved to Oregon. Our youngest, David, was in college. They all said, "Mom, don't make any big decisions. Give yourself time." So I stayed, and time passed, and the house settled around me like an old coat. Then 5 years ago, Mark and Lisa hit a rough patch. Landlords sold their place out from under them, and they couldn't find anything affordable in the neighborhood. The schools here are good, and the kids were enrolled and settled. They asked if they could stay with me temporarily, just until they got back on their feet. Of course I said yes. They're my family. The kids were 7 and 5 at the time. Little Sophia and baby Thomas. I loved having them around. Loved the noise, the chaos, the sticky fingerprints on the windows. Loved being needed again. Temporary turned into permanent. That's how these things go. First it was just until we save for a down payment. Then it was the market's too crazy right now. Then it was maybe we should just stay and help you out around here. Help me out, like they were doing me a favor. I didn't mind at first. I really didn't. I liked the company, liked cooking for more than just myself, liked hearing the kids laugh and argue and run through the halls the way Mark used to run. It felt like the house was alive again. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being the host and started being the guest. Little things at first. Lisa rearranged my kitchen cabinets because she couldn't find anything. She bought different groceries, different brands, and stopped asking what I wanted. She redecorated the living room without mentioning it, just moved my things into storage and brought in her own furniture. "Just updating things a bit," she said, "making it more functional." Then bigger things. They took over the basement for their own use, turned it into a family room with a big TV and gaming consoles. They took over the backyard for the kids' play set, without asking if I minded losing my flower beds. They started treating the house like it was theirs, and I was just there. I told myself it didn't matter. They're family. Sharing is what families do. I didn't want to be the difficult mother-in-law, the one who complains about everything. I'd seen that movie. I didn't want to star in it. So I stayed quiet. I shrank. I made myself small and easy and convenient. And now they wanted me to leave altogether. Lying in bed that night, listening to the crickets, I realized something that made my chest ache. They hadn't seen me in years. Not really. I'd become background. The nice old lady who lived upstairs and didn't cause trouble. The grandmother who babysat when they needed a night out. The cook who made soup and casseroles and never complained about the grocery bill. I wasn't Patricia anymore. I wasn't Mom. I wasn't even Grandma, not really. I was just there. And now they wanted me somewhere else. The next morning, I woke early. 5:30, same as always. Made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with the newspaper. The house was quiet. Mark and Lisa wouldn't be up for hours. The kids didn't have school, so they'd sleep late too. I sat there in the stillness, looking at the kitchen Lisa had rearranged. The mugs were in a different cabinet now. The spices were alphabetized on a rack she'd installed. The cookie jar, the one Michael had bought me from a garage sale, was nowhere to be seen, probably in a box in the basement. I didn't get angry. That would come later. Right then, I just felt tired, heavy, like I'd been carrying something for too long and my arms were giving out. Dorothy arrived at 9. I told her to come while they were out. Mark had a golf thing. Lisa was taking the kids to some birthday party at a trampoline park. We had the house to ourselves. Dorothy looked around with professional eyes, took notes, measured rooms with a laser thing she'd bought, asked questions about the roof, the furnace, the water heater. I answered them all. "The bones are good," she said finally, echoing Michael's words from 35 years ago. "The kitchen's dated, but that's fixable. The bathrooms are original but clean. You've maintained this place well, Patty." "I've tried." She sat down at the kitchen table across from me. "The market's strong right now. This neighborhood's desirable. I can probably list it at $450, maybe $475, depending on how quickly you want to move." I almost choked on my coffee. $450,000. Dorothy smiled. "Honey, you're sitting on a gold mine. This house, this lot in this location. People would kill for it." I'd known property values had gone up. You can't live somewhere 40 years without noticing. But I hadn't realized it was that much. Michael and I paid $87,000. Now it was worth 5 times that. "And if I want to move fast?" I asked. "We price it a little lower, generate interest. But with the right buyer, you might not need to. Like I said, I know some people." I nodded, thinking. "Patty," Dorothy said gently, "are you sure about this? Once we list, there's no taking it back." I looked around the kitchen. At the cabinets Lisa had rearranged. At the spot on the floor where Michael used to stand and make his coffee every morning. At the window over the sink where I'd watched the kids grow up and the seasons change and my whole life pass by. "I'm sure," I said. "They asked me to leave. I'm just leaving on my own terms." Dorothy reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Okay then, let's get to work." The next 2 weeks felt like living in 2 worlds at once. In one world, I was still grandma, still mom, still the woman who made soup and watched the kids and stayed out of the way. I went through the motions, made breakfast, did laundry, helped Sophia with her homework, sat through dinners where the conversation flowed around me like I wasn't there. In the other world, I was plotting my escape. Dorothy came by twice more, always when the house was empty. She brought paperwork. I signed it. She brought a photographer. A young woman named Keisha who moved through the rooms like a ghost, capturing light and space and the soul of the house without disturbing anything. She took pictures of the oak tree, the back deck I'd built for Michael, the fireplace where we'd hung stockings every Christmas for decades. "These are beautiful," Keisha said softly. "This house has so much character." "Thank you," I said. "It's been loved." She nodded like she understood. The listing went live on a Tuesday. Not on the public sites, not yet. Dorothy sent it to her private list, her network of serious buyers who wanted character, not cookie cutter. Within 3 days, she had 2 families interested. The first was a young couple with a baby. He was a professor at the community college. She was a librarian. They wanted something with history, with soul, with room to grow. They came through on a Thursday while Mark was at work and Lisa was at her book club. I made tea, served it in the good cups, and let them wander. The wife, Amanda, ran her hand along the stair railing like she was greeting an old friend. "This wood," she said. "It's original, isn't it?" 1989, I told her. "My husband installed it himself." She smiled. "You can feel the love in this house." They made an offer that night, full price, $460. I didn't accept, not yet. I wanted to meet the other family first. They came on Sunday, an older couple, maybe mid-60s, Richard and Carol. He was retired from the phone company. She was a retired teacher. They'd raised their own kids, sold their own family home, and wanted something smaller but not sterile. Something that still felt like a home. Carol walked into the kitchen and gasped. "This is exactly what I pictured," she said. "The window over the sink, the garden view. I could stand here every morning and just breathe." Richard was in the backyard, looking at the oak tree. He came back in with a smile. "That tree's magnificent." "It was a sapling when we planted it," I said. "My son was 13. They made an offer too, $455. A little less than the first couple, but cash. No financing contingencies. No waiting for bank approvals, just money in hand ready to go. I sat with Dorothy that evening, weighing my options. "The professor and librarian are lovely," Dorothy said. "They'll love this house, but the retired couple, they're ready now. They can close in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It felt impossibly fast and impossibly right. "Carol," I said slowly. She understood the kitchen window. She saw what it meant. Dorothy nodded. "Then go with your gut." I called Carol that night, told her the house was hers if she wanted it. She cried on the phone, happy tears. "We'll take such good care of it," she promised. "We'll love it like you did." I believed her. The papers were signed 2 days later. Closing date set for October 15th, just 21 days away. Now came the hard part, keeping it secret until it was done. I started packing at night, after everyone went to bed. Little things at first, photo albums, recipe cards, Michael's old letters, the quilt my mother made when I got married. Things that would fit in boxes I could hide in my closet, under my bed, in the back of the spare room nobody used anymore. Every night I'd pack one box, sometimes two. I'd label them carefully. Kitchen, bedroom, MEMORIES. And then I'd stack them in the corner of my room, covered with an old sheet, invisible to anyone who wasn't looking. During the day, I went on as normal, made breakfast, helped with homework, sat through dinners. No one noticed anything different. No one asked why I was tired, why I went to bed earlier, why I seemed distracted. They were too busy with their own lives to wonder about mine. That hurt more than I expected. Not that they didn't notice, but that they didn't even look. One night I was packing the recipe box, the one with all the cards in my mother's handwriting, and I came across one for her Sunday pot roast. I remembered sitting at her kitchen table as a girl, watching her cook, learning the rhythm of a home. She'd been gone 20 years now, died before Michael got sick, before any of this. Sometimes I wondered what she'd think of me, living like this, invisible in my own house. I think she'd be proud of what I was doing. She'd always said, "Patty, don't let anyone make you small. You're too big for that." I was finally listening. The second week of October, Dorothy called with an update. Closing was on track. Funds would be wired to my account the day after. The new place, a little cottage on the other side of town, was ready for me to move in. I'd signed the lease weeks ago, using my maiden name to keep it private. Small place, 2 bedrooms, a porch, a garden. Perfect. Now, I just had to get through the final days. On October 12th, 3 days before closing, I did something I'd been dreading. I wrote a letter to Mark. Not a long one, not angry, just honest. "Dear Mark, by the time you read this, the house will be sold. I've made arrangements and everything is final. The new owners are lovely people. They'll take care of this place the way it deserves. I'm not writing this to hurt you. I'm writing because I need you to understand. When Lisa told me it was time to leave, I realized something important. I'd become invisible in my own life. I'd become someone you made decisions for, not someone you made decisions with. I've spent 40 years in this house. I raised you here. I loved your father here. I built a life here. And I wasn't ready to let it go the way you wanted me to, slowly, quietly, like I was just background noise. So I chose my own way. I'm not angry, Mark. I'm not even sad anymore. I'm just ready for something that's mine, ready to stop shrinking. I love you. I always will. And when you're ready, you know where to find me. Mom. I folded it, put it in an envelope, and tucked it in my coat pocket. I'd leave it on the kitchen table the morning I left. October 15th came faster than I expected. I woke at 4 a.m. before anyone else and moved through the house one last time. The kitchen where I'd cooked 10,000 meals. The living room where we'd watched TV and argued and laughed and cried. The hallway with the growth chart still marked in pencil from when the kids were small. Mark at 4 feet. Jennifer at 3'8". David, our youngest, at just 2'3", barely able to reach the pencil. I ran my fingers over those marks and whispered goodbye. By 5, I had my bags packed. 2 suitcases, 4 boxes, everything I needed, everything I loved. The rest I'd left behind, neatly labeled for donation. Let them deal with it. Let them decide. At 5:30, I made coffee one last time, sat at the kitchen table one last time, watched the sun come up over the backyard one last time. Then I placed the envelope on the table, picked up my bags, and walked out the front door. Dorothy was waiting in the driveway, engine running. She didn't say anything, just opened the trunk and helped me load my things. I didn't look back as we pulled away, not once. Some things you don't look back at, some things you just let go. The cottage was everything I'd hoped for. Small, yes, but light, airy, mine. The kitchen had a window over the sink that looked out at a little garden, just like Carol had described at the old house. The porch was just big enough for 2 chairs and a small table. The bedroom fit my bed and my dresser and nothing else, which was perfect. I spent the first 2 days just being, unpacking slowly, arranging things where I wanted them without asking anyone's opinion, hanging Michael's photo above the fireplace, putting my mother's quilt on the bed, setting the recipe box on the kitchen counter where I could reach it easily. No one knew where I was. My phone was off. I'd left no forwarding address, just the letter on the kitchen table and a new life waiting to be lived. The 3rd day, I turned my phone on. 47 missed calls, 32 text messages, all from Mark, some from Lisa, a few from Jennifer in Oregon, worried because Mark had called her, even one from David, who was living in Chicago now and rarely called anyone. I sat on the porch with a cup of tea and started reading. Mom, what's going on? There's a letter on the table. Call me. Mom, please. I'm freaking out here. Mom, did you sell the house? Is this some kind of joke? Patricia, this is Lisa. We need to talk about this. You can't just disappear. Mom, Jennifer says you're not answering her either. Please call someone. We're worried. Mom, I'm sorry for whatever I did. Just please call me. I read them all, every single one. And then I set the phone down and watched a squirrel chase another squirrel around the oak tree in my new yard. They were worried now. They were scared now. They were paying attention now. It had only taken me disappearing for them to finally see me. I didn't call back that day, or the next. I needed time, needed to feel solid in my new life before I let the old one pull at me. On the 5th day, Mark showed up at my door. I don't know how he found me. Dorothy wouldn't have told him. Maybe he'd hired someone. Maybe he'd just driven around town looking for my car. However he did it, there he was, standing on my little porch, looking like he hadn't slept in a week. I opened the door and just looked at him. Mom, his voice cracked. Mom, what did you do? I stepped aside. Come in. He walked into the cottage like a man in a daze. Looked around at the small rooms, the packed boxes still half unpacked, the photos I'd set out. He looked at Michael's picture above the fireplace. Looked at the quilt on the bed visible through the bedroom door. Looked at me. You really did it, he said. You really sold the house. I did. Without telling us, without even, He stopped, ran his hands through his hair. Mom, we live there, our kids live there. How could you just… Sit down, Mark. He sat on my little couch in my little living room, looking like a lost boy in a stranger's house. I sat across from him in my rocking chair, the one Michael had given me for our 25th anniversary. Do you remember, I said quietly, what Lisa said to me 3 weeks ago? He looked away. She told me she talked to you. She told me it was time for me to leave, that you'd discussed it, that you thought I'd be happier somewhere else, somewhere more suitable. Mark's face went red. That's not, it wasn't. Was it true? He didn't answer. Mark, look at me. Was it true? Slowly, he met my eyes. We talked about it, about how the house was getting to be too much for you, about how maybe you'd be better off somewhere with fewer stairs, less maintenance. We didn't mean. You didn't mean to hurt me. I know, people never do. I leaned back in the chair. But you did. You decided what was best for me without asking me. You treated me like a problem to solve, not a person to consult. And you sent Lisa to tell me because you couldn't face me yourself. He stared at his hands. I spent 40 years in that house, I continued. I raised you there. I buried your father from there. I built that home with my own 2 hands and a whole lot of stubbornness. And you wanted me to just leave, quietly, so you could have more space. We weren't trying to. You were, maybe not consciously, but somewhere underneath it all, you were. I was in the way. I was taking up space you wanted for yourselves, and it was easier to frame it as helping me than to admit that. Mark was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was small. I didn't realize. No, you didn't. None of you did. He looked up. So you sold the house out from under us. I sold my house, the one I own, the one your father left to me. I sold it to people who will love it, who will take care of it, who will build their own memories there. And I used the money to buy myself a life where I'm not invisible anymore. Mark blinked. You bought this place. I'm renting it, for now. The rest of the money is in a trust. For me, for my needs, for my future. Not for your renovation projects or your rental income or your convenience. He looked around again, really seeing this time. It's small. It's perfect. Another long silence. Then, softly, are you ever going to forgive me? I thought about it, really thought. Not about what I should say, but about what I truly felt. I don't know, I said honestly. Not yet, but I'm not angry anymore. Anger takes too much energy. I'm just living my life now, my way. And if you want to be part of it, you'll have to see me, really see me. Not as background, not as someone to manage, just as me. He nodded slowly. I think I understand. Do you? I'm trying. That was something. Not everything, but something. He stayed another hour. We talked about small things. The kids, his job, Jennifer's new baby due in the spring, normal things, safe things. We didn't talk about the house again, not that day. When he left, he hugged me at the door. A real hug, not the quick, awkward ones we'd been doing for years. He held on a little longer than necessary, and when he pulled back, his eyes were wet. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I know. After he left, I sat on the porch and watched the sun go down. My phone buzzed with a text from him. Thank you for letting me come. I'll do better, I promise. I didn't respond right away, but I saved the message. The first few weeks in the cottage were strange and wonderful. Strange because I kept reaching for things that weren't there. The extra coffee mugs, the big refrigerator, the stair railing that had guided me up to bed for 40 years. My hands remembered the old house even when my mind was ready to let go. Wonderful because I could do whatever I wanted. Eat breakfast at noon if I felt like it. Leave dishes in the sink. Read until 2 a.m. with all the lights on. No one's schedule to accommodate. No one's preferences to consider, just me. I started going to the library. There was a small branch within walking distance, and I'd go 3 or 4 times a week just to browse, to sit in the quiet, to check out books I'd been meaning to read for years. The librarians learned my name. One of them, a young woman named Chloe, started setting aside books she thought I'd like. Mysteries, mostly. Some historical fiction. She had good taste. I joined a walking group at the community center. Just a handful of women my age, meeting twice a week to walk the trail along the creek. We'd talk about our lives, our kids, our grandkids, our gardens. They didn't know my story, not at first. Just that I was new in town, a widow looking for company. That was enough. Slowly, gently, I started to feel like myself again. Not someone's mother, not someone's grandmother, not background, just Patricia, Patty, a person with her own life, her own rhythm, her own small joys. Mark came by every Sunday. At first it was awkward, stilted. We'd sit on the porch and talk about nothing, circling each other like strangers learning to be family again. But week by week, it got easier. He started asking questions about me. Not how are you in that automatic way, but real questions. What was I reading? Did I like the walking group? What was my favorite thing about the cottage? He was trying, I could see it, and that mattered. Lisa never came. I didn't expect her to. Some relationships don't survive certain things, and maybe ours was one of them. She sent a card once, a few weeks after the move. Short, formal, but not unkind. Patricia, I'm sorry for how things happened. I hope you're happy in your new place. Love, Lisa. I kept it, didn't respond, but I kept it. Sophia and Thomas came with Mark sometimes. The first visit, Sophia was shy, hanging back, not sure how to act in this strange new place where Grandma lived. But then she saw the cookie jar on my counter, the same one from the old house, the one Lisa had banished to the basement. Her face lit up. Grandma, you brought the cookie jar. I did, sweetheart, and there's cookies in it. After that, she was fine. Thomas took longer, but by the third visit, he was asking to see my garden, to help me water the plants, to sit on my lap while I read stories. Kids are like that. They adapt. They don't hold grudges the way adults do. One Sunday in late November, Mark came alone. The kids were with friends, he said. Lisa was at a spa day. We sat on the porch with tea, watching the last of the autumn leaves drift down. I've been thinking, he said, about what you said about seeing you. I waited. I didn't realize I'd stopped. It's not an excuse, just I got busy, with work, with the kids, with life, and you were always just there, reliable, steady. I took it for granted. Most people do, I said. It's human nature. That doesn't make it right. No, but understanding it is a start. He nodded, stared at his tea for a long moment. I talked to Lisa about everything, about how we handled it. She's not ready to talk to you yet, but she knows she was wrong too. That's between you and her. I know, I just wanted you to know that I'm trying. We're trying to be better. I reached over and touched his hand. I know you are. He looked up, eyes wet again. Do you think Dad would be proud of me? The question caught me off guard. I thought about Michael, about the kind of man he was. Patient, forgiving, but honest too. He never let the kids get away with easy answers. I think he'd be proud that you're asking the question, I said slowly. I think he'd be proud that you're trying, and I think he'd be disappointed that it took this long, but he'd also understand. He knew people make mistakes. He knew loving someone means giving them room to grow. Mark wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I miss him. Me too, baby, every day. We sat there until the tea went cold and the sun dipped behind the trees. When he left, he hugged me tight and said, I love you, Mom. I love you too. And for the first time in years, I felt like he meant it. December came cold and bright. I decorated the cottage modestly. A small tree in the corner, some lights around the window, the old nativity set on the bookshelf. It was enough, more than enough. Mark called mid-month with an invitation. Christmas dinner at their place. His place now, I corrected myself. The house wasn't theirs anymore, not really. They were renting it from Carol and Richard until they found something permanent. Carol had been kind about it, letting them stay through the holidays, giving them time to figure things out. Will you come? Mark asked. The kids are asking for you. Sophia wants to help you make cookies. I hesitated. The thought of walking into that house, the house that was no longer mine, stirred something complicated in my chest. Not anger anymore, just wait. Mom, I'm thinking. I know it might be hard, but we'd really like you there. I'd really like you there. I closed my eyes, pictured the kitchen, the living room, the stairs. They weren't mine anymore. They belonged to Carol and Richard now, and Carol and Richard had been nothing but kind. They'd sent me a note after closing, thanking me for the house, promising to love it. They'd even invited me to visit sometime to see the garden in spring. Maybe it was time. Maybe walking through that door as a guest, not as the owner, not as the one being pushed out, would feel different, lighter. Okay, I said, I'll come. Christmas Eve, I drove over. The house was lit up, warm, welcoming. Carol had decorated the outside with white lights, simple and elegant. Different from my old multicolored strings, but beautiful in their own way. Mark met me at the door. He looked nervous, hopeful. Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me. Inside, everything was different and the same. The furniture was Carol and Richard's now, but the bones were still there. The staircase, the fireplace, the window over the kitchen sink. Sophia ran to me, wrapped her arms around my waist. Grandma, you're here, come see the tree. She pulled me into the living room. The tree was huge, decorated with ornaments I'd never seen. But tucked among them, I spotted a few familiar ones. The angel Michael and I had bought our first Christmas. The little wooden soldier Mark made in kindergarten. They'd kept them. They'd put them on the tree. Lisa was in the kitchen, helping Carol with dinner preparations. She looked up when I walked in, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she nodded, small but real. Patricia, I'm glad you came. Thank you for having me. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't even really a conversation. But it was something, a crack in the ice, a start. Dinner was lovely. Richard carved the turkey. Carol's mashed potatoes were better than mine, though I'd never admit it. The kids laughed and argued and spilled things. Normal, warm family. After dinner, I stood at the kitchen window, looking out at the backyard. The oak tree was bare now, winter stripped, but still magnificent. The place that Mark and Lisa had installed was still there, though I knew they'd have to take it when they moved. Carol and Richard didn't need a place set. Mark came up beside me. Strange, isn't it, being here like this? A little. Does it hurt? I thought about it. Not the way it used to. It's more like looking at a photo album. The people in it are gone, but the love isn't. Does that make sense? He nodded. I think so. We stood there together, watching the last light fade from the sky. Mom. Yeah. I'm sorry it took me so long to understand. I'm sorry you had to leave for me to finally see you. I turned to him, put my hand on his cheek. You're here now, that's what matters. He hugged me and I let him, held on tight for both of us. On the way home that night, driving through streets lined with Christmas lights, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Real, deep, settled peace. The old house was gone, but I wasn't. I was here in my little cottage in my new life with people who were learning to love me the right way. Not as background, not as a convenience, as me. And that was enough. More than enough. Spring came gently that year. The garden at the cottage woke up slowly. Crocuses first, then daffodils, then tulips I'd planted in the fall without knowing if they'd survive. They did. They always do if you give them half a chance. I spent more and more time outside. Bought a little bench for the porch, the kind with cushions, and I'd sit there for hours with a book and a cup of tea, watching the world wake up around me. Neighbors waved as they walked by. Some stopped to chat. I learned their names, their stories, their dogs' names, became part of something small but real. Mark's Sunday visits became a ritual. Sometimes Sophia came, sometimes Thomas, sometimes just Mark. We'd sit on the porch or take walks along the creek or cook together in my tiny kitchen. He told me about his job, his marriage, his struggles. I listened. That's what mothers do. But now he listened too, asked my opinion, valued what I had to say. It wasn't perfect. Nothing ever is. Lisa and I never became close. We exchanged polite words at family gatherings, but the warmth wasn't there. Maybe it never would be. I'd made my peace with that. Some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. But you can learn to live on opposite sides of the river, wave across the water, be grateful for what remains. In April, Carol invited me to see the garden at the old house. She'd been working on it all spring, planting, pruning, bringing it back to life. I went on a Tuesday afternoon when I knew Mark and Lisa wouldn't be there. The garden was beautiful, more beautiful than I'd ever made it. Carol had a gift for color, for arrangement, for coaxing beauty out of dirt. She'd kept the roses I'd planted years ago, but added new ones. She'd expanded the vegetable beds, built a little stone path, installed a bird bath where the old bird feeder used to be. "It's stunning," I told her. "You've done amazing things." She smiled, pleased. "The house deserves it, it's a special place." We sat on the back deck, the one I'd built for Michael, and drank lemonade. She asked about my life, my family, my plans. I told her about the cottage, about Mark, about the walking group and the library and the slow pleasure of days that belonged only to me. "It sounds like you're happy," she said. I really am." She nodded, understanding. It's funny how things work out. You think you're losing something and instead you find yourself. Exactly. Before I left, she walked me through the house one more time. Everything was different now. Their furniture, their art, their photos on the walls, but the bones were the same. The staircase, the fireplace, the kitchen window. I stood at that window for a long moment, looking out at the garden, at the oak tree, at the sky. "Thank you," I whispered, to Carol, to the house, to Michael, wherever he was. Then I walked out the front door, got in my car, and drove home. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. A year after the move, I wrote another letter. Not to Mark, not to Lisa, to Sophia, my granddaughter, the one who'd wrapped her arms around me that first Christmas at the cottage and said, "Grandma, I'm glad you're still here." I wrote it slowly, carefully, the way you write something you want to last. "Dear Sophia, by the time you're old enough to read this, you'll be old enough to understand, or at least old enough to start understanding. Life takes time. Most important things do. I'm writing this because I want you to know something that took me 74 years to learn. Something I hope you'll learn sooner. You matter, not because of what you do for others, not because you're convenient or helpful or easy to have around. You matter because you're you, because you exist, because you take up space in this world and that space is yours by right. I spent too many years making myself small. Too many years being the background, the helper, the one who made things easier for everyone else. And somewhere along the way, I stopped being seen. I stopped being me. It took losing my home to find myself again. That's not the path I'd wish for you. So I'm telling you now, while you're still young enough to grow into the knowing, don't make yourself small for anyone. Not for your parents, not for your friends, not for the person you'll someday love. Love deeply, give generously, but never disappear. I've put some money aside for you. It's in a trust that you'll get when you're 25. Use it for something that matters. College, maybe, or a down payment on a home, or a year of traveling if that's what calls to you. Or just keep it, let it grow, use it when you need it most. It's yours. No strings, no expectations, just a gift from a grandmother who loves you. But more than the money, I want you to have this. Permission. Permission to take up space. Permission to be seen. Permission to live your life on your terms, not someone else's. I'll be watching, Sophia, not in a spooky way, just in the way that love watches, proud of you always. With all my love. Grandma. I folded it, put it in an envelope with the trust documents, and placed it in my lockbox. Not for now, for later, for when she was ready. Then I went out to the porch, sat on my bench, and watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Life was good, not perfect, not without its aches, but good. I'd found my way back to myself. And that, I'd learned, was the only journey that really mattered. I'm 75 now, still in the cottage, still walking with the group on Tuesdays and Thursdays, still reading books Chloe sets aside for me at the library, still tending my little garden, though it's smaller than Carol's, simpler. Mark and I have dinner together once a week, sometimes at my place, sometimes at his. He and Lisa finally bought a house of their own, a small place across town, not the old house. That's still Carol and Richard's, still loved, still full of new memories being made. Sophia comes to visit often. She's 9 now, all legs and questions and opinions. She helps me in the garden, even though she's not very good at it. She eats my cookies and tells me about school and asks about the olden days like they're a foreign country. I tell her stories, about her grandfather, about her father when he was small, about the house and all the years we spent there. She listens, really listens, and I see myself in her, the curiosity, the stubbornness, the way she feels things deeply but doesn't always show it. Last week she asked me, "Grandma, are you happy?" I thought about it, not because I wasn't sure, but because I wanted to give her a real answer, not just a reflex. "I am," I said. "I'm very happy." "Why?" "Because I'm living my life the way I want to. Because I have people I love who love me back. Because every morning I wake up in a place that's mine, and I get to decide what kind of day I'm going to have." She nodded seriously, like she was filing that away for future reference. Then she said, "Can we make cookies now?" We made cookies. And as I stood in my tiny kitchen, flour on my apron, granddaughter at my side, I thought about the woman I'd been 3 years ago. The one who sat at her kitchen table while her daughter-in-law told her it was time to leave. The one who smiled instead of crying, who stayed quiet instead of fighting, who made herself small for people who'd stopped seeing her. That woman was gone now, replaced by someone stronger, someone who'd learned that love doesn't mean disappearing, that family doesn't mean sacrifice, that you can hold people close and still hold yourself whole. I'd sold a house, but I'd found a life. And that, I think, was the best trade I ever made.